Welcome to Your Anime Senpais.
I'm Richard.
And I'm John.
Today we're going to be talking about Goblin Slayer, Episode 5.
And Sword Art Online, Alicization, Episode 5.
Full spoilers ahead. Let's get started, John.
Exactly. So, Richard.
Yes.
So we've had 4 episodes of Goblin slaying, Ogre slaying.
Mm-hmm.
Let's talk about Episode 5
Yep.
and the potential slaying that happened in this episode.
Okay. Well,
What was slayed in this episode?
the daily slice of life. That's pretty much it. The slice of life, or the day-to-day for Goblin Slayer when he's not slaying anything.
Goblin Slayer slice of life.
Yeah. Kind of.
Hmm.
So let me go with the positives here. So I thought it was kind of interesting seeing the Goblin Slayer just be this observer for the this up and coming halfling scout rogue type character, and you know he was just there. Like Goblin Slayer was just there, just watching. You know the desk lady, the office lady. She just wanted him there, just to keep an eye on this guy, right?
Mm-hmm.
And it was kind of interesting because you kind of get this idea that the Goblin Slayer's his reputation precedes him a little bit. So yeah, there are people that kind of make fun of him, like, oh, you know, look at his armor. You know, he's a porcelain class and he's got that kind of armor, and all he does is go out and slay goblins. Like, whatever, you know. So he's got a little bit of that, but at the same time, we kind of get the sense that even though people think that, or they'll say that out loud, they still don't want to mess with the Goblin Slayer. So case in point,
Exactly.
this rogue, this scout, like, we can tell his interview's going kind of south. You know, he's trying to get promoted or whatever, and he even says like, yeah, go ahead and promote me to the highest rank, whatever. And but we can kind of get an idea that, you know, the office lady, she's just like not buying this at all whatsoever. In fact, even calls him out on one of his shenanigans too. Like, apparently he found some treasure, came into some treasure doing one of the quests, but he didn't bother to share it with the rest of his party. So, you know, so we could tell again that his interview is not going very well, and he's getting frustrated, and you know, you could tell he wants to do something. You know, wants to kill everybody in this room, but the Goblin Slayer is right there, and you know he's not sure about what this Goblin Slayer can do. Mm-hmm. But he knows he doesn't want to mess with him, so he's just like, you know what? Whatever, I'm done with this interview. I don't care anymore, and he just kind of walks out. So, again, even though people make fun of the Goblin Slayer, they don't want to mess with him either. So, that being said, moving on. Another highlight for me for this episode was just him meeting back with his party, the Goblin Slayer, after that whole ogre fight. He's been asleep for 3 days, so meeting up with his party again. We see the elf. You know, she kind of has her little Cinderella moment there, a little bit. Lizard Man gets his cheese that he's always been wanting.
That's a highlight. For
yeah,
this episode,
almost,
it seems like.
Yeah, he loves his cheese. It's like the nectar of the gods, I think is what he said. So absolutely loves it. And you know, I love him. I love the fact that he loves it so much. So. And then we see that the priestess, thanks to that previous battle from last episode, priestess got a little bit of a promotion there. So nice. Good for her. I would say for the negatives, and really this isn't really much of a negatives per se, but negatives, I would say for this episode, as we've mentioned, not a whole lot of action went on, just kind of the day-to-day for the Goblin Slayer. And, you know, that's not necessarily bad, because when the action starts picking up again, it's kind of one of those parts where we're just gonna be like, man, remember the good old days when things were just nice and peaceful? And honestly, I feel like the Goblin Slayer strives for this kind of peace, but he can't have it because there's goblins out there and that needs to be slain. So the other thing too, and again, this isn't really a negative per se, but it did kind of take me by surprise. So at the very end of this episode, we see that the Goblin Slayer receives a letter, kind of a grandiose letter, And so, me having read the manga, like I know what this is leading into, what arc this is leading into, but I also know that this arc isn't supposed to happen just yet. There's actually another arc that's supposed to happen right now. We'll call that the missing arc right now. And then once that arc happens, then we're supposed to have this letter arc. So what I'm kind of thinking is happening is that the director or whatever has switched the two arcs around, which is okay because neither arc relies on the other. You know, they can act independently. And also too, with this missing arc, the way that it ends, you know, this is only going to be a 12 episode, at least as far as I can tell, this is going to be a 12 episode season. So with the way that the missing arc ends, I think would be a very good way to end this season. So I'm okay with this. I'm okay with it. It's, again, not really a bad thing, but it just kind of left me kind of surprised. So overall, I would say for this episode, maybe not my favorite episode, and probably my least favorite episode so far for this series. So, but even still, it wasn't a bad episode. I'm just going to give it kind of a thumbs up. Not a full thumbs up, but just kind of like, you know, it's there. It's there. So, but in any case, so let's talk about some Sword Art Online.
All right. So episode 5. I'm going to start off with a little good that led to bad.
Okay. All right.
So I've been wanting to know since episode 2 what's going on with Kirito. Well, we get our answer, and boy, do we get our answer. We don't go back really into the VR world that Kirito is actually in throughout this entire episode because we spend time out in the real world, which I wanted. I wanted to know what happened, but that's where the bad comes in. So we're left playing this game. Well, I guess let me back up. So Kirito's in the hospital, obviously because of what happened in episode 2. But they transfer him to a different hospital, they say, that has more specialized equipment. And, you know, Asuna and the rest of the people or family go to this other hospital to, you know, visit him. And they're turned away saying, well, we can't have visitors because of the specialized equipment that's being used on him. And they do a little digging for whatever reason. And they find out that somehow they found out that the ambulance never actually made it to this hospital, and now they have no clue where Kirito is. So, going back to what I said, now we're left playing this game of Find the Kirito. So, that's what this episode was. It was a grandioso game of, is he over in this hospital? Where's his GPS location now? Where was it earlier? Why is it over here in this, you know, harbor? I mean, it was all over the place. I mean, I think at one point they even say he might be in America. I was like, okay, you know, sure, whatever. But they dragged it all out so much that it almost became too much. But anyway, so yeah, I got my answer somewhat, but not in the way I wanted. So let's kind of go now into some of the good parts, and some of the reason they were able to track down Kirito was because Yui is back, and Yui was one of the better things, you know, better parts of, better characters of the original Sword Art, and I've missed her. She was just fun to have around, so great to have her back. So another good part that I kind of want to go to now is the fact that they kind of do a major flashback before the original Sword Art Online, and they go to the creator of that world, and he's talking about his dreams of Aincrad, basically, and how he dreams of all these different floors, and at the top is this huge castle, and just kind of lays the groundwork for the whole series, basically saying that this whole thing was inspired by his dream that he would have every night since I think he was a child, and he wanted to make it a reality somewhat. So I thought that was pretty cool to kind of include that little Easter egg, I guess, or something. So let's just kind of move on pretty quickly to the last good point in this episode because there really wasn't much that happened.
Mm-hmm.
So the last point was they finally tracked down where they think Kirito is, which is on an ocean base. What was it called? Ocean Turtle or something. Something silly. But anyway, they managed to finagle their way in past security and make it down to the main base of operations. And about this time, they're talking about different things that are going on. And Asuna, she's in disguise because she can't. They're not just going to let her in.
Right.
But so she pulls off her wig and whatever else makeup or whatever she has on, and she's like, "Hey, so I want to know where is Kirito right now?" And well, I would also like to know. That's actually where the episode ended. So,
Cliffhanger.
a cliffhanger. Didn't see that coming after all this little running around we did throughout the entire episode. But that also brings me back to just a thought that I have that could potentially be good or bad. And I hope it's not bad. But the way Sword Art's always went is that it gets you really caught up in the story, and then we time jump. And now that we're dealing with a virtual world that acts faster than the real world, I'm afraid now that we're seeing both sides of this coin that we're just going to see a lot of time jumping into virtual world again. And I want to know more about these worlds. I mean, if they spent all this time to create them, I want to know the little details about them. What happened? How do they progress? How do they level up? I want to know these little details. But Sword Art likes to tease these very in-depth worlds and then just kind of just skip. We're just going to go ahead now and skip a couple years or whatever into the future.
Fast forward.
So yeah, it just loves that. So anyway, in all, very, very unenthusiastic thumbs up for this episode. It was all right. It kind of gave me the answers I wanted, but that cliffhanger was more than I really wanted because I want more Sword Art. I guess is that basically what it is. Right. This left me very unsatisfied at the end of the day.
Would you say it was kind of fillerish in a sense with them running around?
I mean, I hate to say fillerish, but I mean, it could have possibly been because some of it, I mean, to a degree, I believe some of it was actually canon, but that many hospitals, that many locations?
Right.
I mean, really? Did we need almost 15, 20 minutes of that?
Right.
Oh, well. Anyway, so that's our reviews for these 2 episodes this week. Thank you guys for watching. So yeah, that's possibly the best anime I've ever seen.
The best.
Yeah, the best. You need to check it out.
Okay, you know what? I'll check it out right this second.
Oh,
right now.
Let's go watch it then.
Yeah, you know what? Let's go watch it, guys.
Yeah, let's go. Oh, hey. If you like this video, go down there and hit the like button.
And you know what? While you're there, there's a subscribe button and a notification button, so whenever we post a video, you guys will be notified.
Yeah, and even further below that's our comment section. So go down there, share your thoughts on this video, and let us know what you thought about it, and give us some feedback.
Yeah, but please just keep the spoilers to a minimum, please.
Yeah, and thank you guys for watching.
We'll see you next time.